Okay.
Hello and welcome to Sierra Make. Today I'm going to be cutting my hair, which has gotten way too long to manage, and I decided to use the excess that I'm cutting off to make some all-natural hair extensions. My hair is so short now. Anyways, now to get to the actual extension making. Here I have my hair, which is about 16 inches long that I cut off. I also have some scissors, some 2-inch thick masking tape, a comb, some fray check, and super hold hairspray. I also have a flat iron, some cardstock, which is that purple paper there, and I also got some double needles. Now, you don't actually need double needles, but it does make this process go by a lot faster if you use them. Another substitute you can do is if you don't have any fray check, which you use to seal up the ends of the string, you can use some liquid nail polish. Okay, time to move on to machine settings, which is going to be important for sewing through hair. The settings are going to be the same for a single or a double needle. You're going to want it set to zigzag with a tension between 7 and 8, a width of 2, and a length of between 0 and 1, so about 0.5. With our sewing machine set, now it is time to make our hair wefts. So here I am taking that 2-inch masking tape and I am folding the corners over so that I can place it onto this table and it'll stick, but the sticky side is also up so I can lay my hair on top of that. I've put down 2 pieces of that masking tape with a small gap in between them, and that gap distance should be smaller, closer together than the size of my sewing foot, but also wider than the inner side that I'm actually going to be sewing because we don't want to get any tape stuck inside of my stitch. Now it's time to lay down my hair chunks. So before I laid these down, I actually straightened this hair just so that it'd be easier to work with because my hair is kind of wavy, and so I tried it first without straightening and it was just such a mess. So definitely straighten whatever hair you're using, or at least the part that you're laying down on the tape first before you do this section. So here I'm just taking little pieces of my hair chunk and laying it down onto the tape, and what I'm really trying to focus on here is making sure it's nice and evenly separated. I'm not getting any weird gaps in my hair because once I sew through this, then I'm going to, that's going to be the amount of hair in each section that I have. So I don't want any weird empty spaces in there. Another thing I learned as I was doing this was the shorter width of this weft, the easier it's actually going to be to sew through it without the machine catching or anything like that. So by that, I mean these pieces of tape that I have laid out, I actually don't end up using the full extension of it. I do it a little bit shorter than that because it's going to be really hard to sew through like a full foot-long width of weft. You can also see as I'm working on this, I'm kind of just patting it down, making sure the hair kind of sticks in place, the part that's touching the tape, and that it's evenly spread apart. So now that I am done with that, we're just going to spray lightly our hair with some of that extra hold hairspray. Make sure you don't spray too much or you're going to end up with a sopping mess, which is what I did the first time around because it's been a while since I've used hairspray. Just use enough that it's not soaked, but it'll hold in place, of course. Now I gotta let that hairspray dry, and because I'm impatient, I'm using a fan. And once it's all dry, you can touch it and make sure it's not wet. You can go ahead and get some more tape, and we're going to just lay it on top of that other tape that we had laid down. So we're essentially sandwiching this hair in between our two pieces of tape. And I'm just going to cut off the little excess tape that I have on the ends. I don't need that there. It'll just be in the way. And there we have our weft all ready to get sewn through. Our hair is stiff enough so that it'll accept the sewing, and let's do it. So here's the difference for using a single versus a double needle. For this sewing portion, if you're using a single needle, you're going to have to sew 8 times. So you're going to sew one side, flip it over, and sew the other side again and again and again, back and forth, 8 times. But because I'm using a double needle, I only have to do that 4 times. So here I'm about to finish my first pass, and so I'm going to flip it around with the part that I ended on facing the needle and getting ready to sew through again for my second pass. And I'm going to do that 4 times with this double needle. So again, this is where making this section not too long comes in handy, because it's pretty easy for this needle to jam. And there was a few times that it jammed. I just pulled out the part that it jammed and sewed again. As you're doing each of these passes over the hair, just try and make sure that you are sewing on top of the part that you had sewed before. You don't want it to be super spread out and have different stitches. You kind of want it to just layer over itself to make one strong, extreme braided stitch across your hair. While I'm doing that, I think this is a great opportunity to ask you what you think of this idea. Do you think this is weird, the fact that I cut off my own hair to make extensions, or do you think it's cool? Because I've had different reactions. When I told some people, they're like, ew, you're using your hair? Like, I don't know, some people have some weird thoughts about hair that's fallen off of their head, whereas others think that hair is lovely and beautiful and they would love to use their own to make some extensions and such. So let me know in the comments down below whether you like this idea or if you think it's gross. Although I think if you think it's gross, you wouldn't have gotten this far in the video. Alright, we are almost done with this project. You can see I have this beautiful, thick stitch just going through the hair and nicely separating it and holding it in place. Now I'm just going to take that cardstock from before and fold my 2 pieces of tape over it, creating a little crease where that stitch is, and I'm just going to flat iron this piece down. Now if you don't have cardstock, like just regular paper, you can use a manila envelope or anything that's stiff that you can really fold your hair over and iron flat. Once that's nice and flat, we're just going to do one more stitch over the top edge of this weft. We're just going to do a very simple top stitch just to hold the hair in place. You can see here I have the double needle on, but I only have the inside needle actually threaded, so I'm only doing a zigzag stitch over this. Okay, now we can remove the tape from our hair. Make sure you get the outside piece and the inside piece. We no longer need that to hold our hair in place. And our weft is almost finished. We just need to snip those little strings at the edge and put that fray check on them on both sides. And we are done. There is our hair extension weft. At this point, you could potentially get some of those little comb snaps and hand stitch those into your hair extension, or you can sew it onto a large clip. You can do whatever you want with these hair extensions. Remember to comment down below what you do with your excess hair after you get a haircut. Do you just throw it away? Do you toss it out to the birds to make nests with? Or would you potentially think about making some hair extensions with it like I've done? If you liked my little unique upcycled hair project too, don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you want to see more unique crafty type projects like these. Thank you for watching.